So the first thing you're going to need is a pair of pants. Jean, preferably, is what I do. I have done some others, but they seem to rip more. But anyways, these are little jeans, and my granddaughter don't wear these. Now, you can do these for adults. I almost said humans. You can do these for adults also, because I've done a ton for my kids. But what you want to do is you want to first have a very good seam ripper. I prefer the Clover. I have this in my Amazon store. And I do use this one because of the stitch eraser. This one will do it, but it's not very good on jean. Good on lightweight fabrics, but not jean. So what you want to do is you want to turn your jeans inside out first thing. You're going to be flipping them back and forth, okay? These are the cutest little skirts. Make sure you're on the inside seam, okay? Inside seam. Go over here to your inside seam. We have done it where we've done the outside seam, and that really stinks. But what you want to do is don't go in because you'll rip a hole, okay? You want to use this ball right here. So you're going to pick stitches, just a few. Now you're going to come out some, okay? If you can see it better on this side, then by all means pick them on this side, okay? So I'm going to start right about here, and I'm just going to start picking stitches until I get a little opening, okay? So you take the ball and carefully go around through here. Now if you're not confident with this, just keep picking. Now when you get to this thing, and these are small, you know, a bigger pair of pants would be easier. When you get here, you just pull and pick, okay? Because if you try to go over this, you're going to either break your seam ripper or rip a huge hole. So you want to pull and pick, pull and pick, pull and pick, okay? All right. So then when you get over that, you can take your ball, stick it back down in there, and just go a few stitches out, okay? You don't need many, you just need to get to this seam right here. So now when you have that on both sides, which I do, flip it back in. My room's uneven, I think. Everything rolls. Flip it back in. Now go to your inside seam where you was just here. Now you have to have it this way to get in your seam. This is a little bit of work, but it's cute and it's worth it. And you can sit in front of a TV or whatever it is you choose to do and pick your pants. Now I'm just picking stitches is what I'm doing. Pulling and picking like I did over that other thing. So I see my stitches. So I'm not just ripping through it, okay? Now once you get that done, you can put your ball in there. And you can carefully wiggle back and forth. It works better when you get past these things right here. You'll have to pull threads when you go. Carefully go up your pants though. Okay? Now you'll have to move these out of your way like I said and just keep on traveling. Now these, I think, most inseams are double sewn. So when you get to this, it's pick again, okay? Pick and pull, because you don't want to, like I said, rip anything. You can break these off, and it's very tragic in my opinion. But anyway. Whew, these are tiny. Okay. So I'm going to hush and go down this other side here. You just watch. Now when you get down here, you have another seam that you have to rip out, okay? And you can do that starting on the inside. Another way to get that inside seam, when you get it down at the bottom, do not rip. Do not try to pull because you'll rip your jean legs. We've done that plenty of times. But you can pull and you can hold your seam ripper and you can clip or just pick your stitches this way and do that all the way down your pants. Just make sure you're pulling, but not pulling hard enough to rip anything, okay? Now this is the most satisfying part to me, and that is pulling the string. I don't know why, but I love it. It just makes me happy. I'm a weirdo, I do admit. Now, sometimes on jeans, I don't take, especially if it's colored stitches, like white or whatever, I don't take a lot of the stitching out because I can stitch over that and have the original stitching, if that makes sense. But these, I'm just taking the stitches out. Alright, now, I'm going to use my stitch eraser. Okay, and I'm going to pull my fabric down and I'm just going to run this eraser part over this, and y'all, it just pulls these stitches out so nice most of the time. Sometimes you have to reach in and it'll pull, and you just have to grab it because it's long and pull it out. And then I always do the same on the back just to make sure I get all my stitches out of here. Okay. Now when you get most of the strings out, you want to take up your crotch, but not all the way to here, just almost, because you do have to sew this and you don't want to sew over the zipper. So just take this and out and then go up the back midways, or the bottom is where I go, the bottom of my little pockets, okay? Now when you get to this part, don't pull, snip it, okay? And you won't have a bunch in your butt here, I promise. I wear skirts all the time, so it's not a problem right here. But anyway, we've got this far. Yeehaw. Ain't this great? Okay. Now, we want to take our little jeans, and I'm going to put them together. And I am going to cut them off at a length around the knees. Okay? So I'm just going to pull them up. And I'm going to cut right across. Alright, now these panels is going to go in here. Okay? So you can use extra fabric if you want to, or whatever you desire to do. Now we're going to iron our little pant seams, okay? So these are pretty much there. You don't have to do nothing with the front, okay? Leave it like that. But the back, you're going to want to come in some. You see all this excess fabric? You're going to want to come in some. This one will automatically lay in for you most of the time. So you don't want no puckers in your butt, okay? So you may have to pull this one in some, but you adjust these, okay, just until it looks good to you. And you, like I said, you don't want no puckers in your butt, but we had to unloosen this so it could slide over some, okay? And then when you get this the way you want it, and you want this kind of even, you want this arrow even with this, okay? Doesn't matter what this does. You want this even. So you could pull this one up and iron it first if you want to, just to make sure that's going to hold, okay? Then you can position this one. This one's the one that's going to make your arrow, really. You don't want this so that you have one leg a whole lot smaller either. You know, try to adjust them accordingly to your other legs over here. Make sure it's flat. Okay, well, we're not going to leave that in there. We're going to cut that out cut it out, off, whatever. Now, iron that down. You are going to need something to slide in here. Okay, now I've got a Dollar Tree cutting mat. Now, I always do the back first, and it's because it is longer and harder to slide under the machine. Okay, once you get it together. Alright, so now we have this here. Slip a pin right through there. Okay. Now that'll hold it. Now you're going to take this one, okay? You're going to line this up with this. And this will show you where to hem. Wrong side. This will show you where to hem. So you line this up with this. Now don't worry about this hanging over. That does not matter. Okay? We'll cut that off. Matter of fact, we don't need all this, so I'm going to cut this off right now. Alright. Now what I'm going to do to reduce bulk, okay, slide this under here. Make sure everything's flat. Pull it down where it needs to be. Okay? Make sure it's even. That looks good. And I am going to take my pencil, my chalk pencil, and I'm going to mark this. Okay? And this is where I need to go. Alright, so all of this I'm going to cut off, but you're going to leave space there. So I'm going to use my pinking shears, and I'm simply going to cut around this piece, okay? This will help with fraying, and like I said, it reduces your sewing bulk down there. So now I'm going to put this piece back in, put my flaps down where they belong. We'll deal with those later. And I'm going to bump this up where it belongs. Now I can start pinning. So you want to pin all of this, and I go down, up, if I can get it up, down and back up, and that makes sure that I get all of this. See? Excuse me. Now I'm just going to pin here. I cannot hold these pins very well because my hands are I don't know, I can't grip. So anyway, this is the point of using something between there. You can use cardboard or whatever, and it's just so you're not pinning the front to the back and yada yada. You know how that goes. Okay, so that is pinned. So I'm going to go to the machine and we're going to sew this. Okay, I am not going to turn my light on because you won't be able to see, but I have my pink thread on there. Now if you want your stitches thicker, like, you know, like a jean, you would use 2 spools, run it through the same needle, thread it all the same, and use 2 strands, or you can get upholstery thread or something like that would work as well. So now what you're going to do is you're going to need kind of a long stitch, and I'm just going to use my needle to go across, but you're going to want to put, and it's a 16 jean needle is what I'm using. Okay? So make sure your bottom is out when you slide that. Okay? Make sure you're not catching that bottom. I have sewn my back to my front before, and it is very disheartening. So I'm just going to line this up, and I'm going to put my needle over where it will hit in my stitch. Okay? I'm just going to stitch in my stitch line. slide it back under and catch the edge of this without catching this, if that makes sense. Line your needle up to make sure. Now, I did use my vintage 401 just because these vintage machines or a better made machine can handle sewing through jean a lot better than the newer plastic machines. Now I got the front and I'm going to do the same. Oh, when I get my needle up. And I'm going to shove this under here. It's tighter. It's a tight fit. Now make sure you get your back off of here. Okay? Because if you don't, this is where I have sewn my back to my front. Okay? And this might look a little puckered, but it'll sew flat, trust me. Now, all you got to do is sew down this line. Make sure you curve it. Back stitch. Now go down. Don't sew over your pins. When you pull your pin out, push down. That helps hold everything together. The harder you push down. I know it's tricky, but you can get it. Don't go over, but back stitch, okay? Now, go where you stopped. It's hard for me to see because I have no light. Hold on just one second. I had to line that up, y'all. Now I'm just going to go down this side first, okay? Make sure you have everything flat down there and sew. Oops, make sure you have it in forward. All right. Now go do your other side just like you did the back. Making sure, and it's easier to pull it just like this as opposed to pulling it out. Just slide it right back down. Move your needle accordingly, or, you know, line your fabric up. And then sew. They have stitch lines on both sides. Just go down your stitch lines and you're done. It's that easy. And then we'll hem it, okay? Don't forget the back stitch. Now I've got my skirt sewn. I'm going to flip it inside out. I clipped my threads from the other side, okay? Now I'm just going to go through here and get all my threads clipped, okay? You don't want these tickling, touching, whatever. I don't have my apron on because I was cleaning my room and rearranging and I can't find it, but that thing sure is handy to stick my threads to. Okay, now, you see these right here? I am carefully going to make sure you do not have these two pieces together. And I'm just going to take my pinking shears and I'm going to cut this. That reduces your fraying without having to sew it. Now, you can take and zigzag stitch this down or you serge it. I serge mine normally because I have a serger, but I'm just doing this in case you don't have a serger. They are nice to have, I will tell you. I got the brother something 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 D. I don't know, and it's covered up. I can't remember what it is, but anyways, I love it. So I'm just going to trim this up both sides, okay? Like I said, make sure you do not catch your underside. Now that one's stuck, so all I got to do is retrim this. And there you go. Now if you have one of these hanging, you can snip it. And there you go. Now we just got to hem it. Okay, so now you're going to take your little skirt. Like I said, this is so much easier for a grown-up skirt. Now these are not going to match because, you know, one will be longer than the other because of your butt and whatnot. I'm going to fold this up. Now you can zigzag or serge this edge. I'm going to serge mine so that I can fold it up, okay? I'm going to go serge it. So it's serged, and all I'm going to do is iron up my hem, okay? That's all I'm going to do. Now I'm just going to go sew, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the edge of my presser foot, and I'm going to run my needle all the way over so that it will sew and it'll catch just a little bit of this. That's what I'm going to do. And there is your little skirt, all hemmed. That's the front, and that's the back. Now how cute. I love it. Hope you like this video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. If there's something you'd do different, let me know. But until next time, you are a blessing. Goodbye.